Hey everybody, before we get into the Season 3 recap of Umbrella Academy, if you need a Season 2 recap, hit the tab in the upper right-hand corner. Although, I suggest hitting the tab for the Season 1 and 2 recap, because in Season 2, I forgot one of the episodes. Big thumbs down for that one. Now, Season 3 kicks off right where Season 2 left off, with the Umbrella Academy staring at the Sparrow Academy. And Reginald Hargraves got the Sparrow Academy the same way he got the Umbrella Academy. He bought the kids. After running into the Umbrella Academy in the 60s, he realized what a mistake he would have made. So he just bought different kids. And those kids are Marcus, who is number 1. His superhero ability is he's basically Luther. There's Ben. He's number 2. We know what his superhero ability is. Number 3 is Faye. Her superhero ability is the fact that she sees the world through ravens that she's able to summon out of her body. Number 4 is Alfonso. Unfortunately for Alfonso, he looks like a ball sack, but his superhero ability is pretty cool. He's able to inflict pain on others by taking pain. So you can punch him as hard as you want in the face, but you'll be the one to actually feel it. Number 5 is Sloan, and she can levitate, but also she can pick people up as well. Number 6 is Jamie. Her superhero ability is the fact that she's a great fighter. She looks like a poor man's Anne Hathaway, and she has the ability to shoot out a venom-like liquid from her mouth that if it hits you, you end up hallucinating quite a bit. And then number 7 is Christopher. And besides just being a floating cube, he also has the ability to have a fear inducement, paralysis inducement, cold inducement. He induces a lot of people. While the Umbrella Academy is thrilled to see Ben, he's not thrilled to see them because he has no idea who they are, especially while they're talking about him being dead. Both parties start yelling at each other about whose house it really is. And the Umbrella Academy is appalled when Reginald tells the Sparrow Academy, I met these people in Dallas. They claim to be my kids, but they're not. So in a nutshell, it's confusing for both parties. Because the Umbrella Academy won't leave and insults start flying, everybody gets into a fight. And it doesn't end well for the Umbrella Academy. They get their ass beat pretty good. In fact, the only one that has any luck against them is Vanya. But even she got beat up quite a bit. As a last-ditch resort, Vanya unleashed her powers and it threw all of them back and it allowed her to escape. But to make matters worse for them, during the fight, Grace ended up taking the briefcase. So they're left on the street, beat up, and no way back. And in this alternative timeline, the Sparrow Academy are celebrity stars. It's as if getting these new kids, Reginald was able to fix the mistakes he made with the Umbrella Academy and make the Sparrow Academy what he thought he could do with the Umbrella Academy. As they're kind of just miring in self-pity and collecting their bearings, they realize that the Sparrow Academy's probably going to come looking for him. After all, they did break into their house. They need some place where they can lay low. And Klaus knows just the place. It's called the Hotel Obsidian. It's perfect for people that are trying to keep a low profile. In her heyday, she was a big celebrity hotel, but now she's just kind of a place where people go not to be judged. Although, when they walk to the door, they get a lot of unwanted attention. But Klaus assures the group that this is the place they need to be if they're looking to hide. They end up heading over to the front desk, scaring the bellhop's dog, but securing a room when Luther trades his watch for 2 keys. As they're walking to the elevator, Five says, just meet in the bar in 2 hours and we'll go over a plan. Diego already has a plan, though. It's to break back into the Sparrow Academy's house, kick their ass, and make their dad admit that they're the better academy. But nobody wants to do that plan after just getting their ass kicked less than an hour ago. The group split up. It's boys in one room, girls in another. And while the boys are talking about stupid crap, Allison and Vanya are talking about the ones they left behind. Vanya can't believe that she kissed Sissy goodbye a few hours ago. And Allison can't believe that last night she was sleeping in her own bed with her husband, but now that she's back, her mind has gone to her daughter. In fact, since returning, that's all Allison can really think about. And Vanya tells her, you need to go home. Hug your daughter. Allison's worried if she does that, though, the Sparrow Academy might attack. But Vanya reminds her, we fought the entire commission. We can handle 7 jerks in uniforms. So after a little more urging from Vanya, Allison takes off for the airport and heads to Hollywood. As the Umbrella Academy was settling in, the Sparrow Academy was not celebrating their victory. As they're working out and rewatching the tape of the attack, the only thing they're focused on was how Vanya was able to throw virtually all of them back in a period of 5 seconds. Marcus starts yelling at the group, do you guys have any idea what would happen to our reputation if anyone saw that video? But then he thinks to himself, we haven't faced decent enemies in years. maybe this could be good for us. That is, only if we're smart with our next move. Reginald ends up walking into the room, and Marcus asks him, what's your assessment on them? And Reginald rips into the Umbrella Academy, basically just saying they're dysfunctional and not very loyal to each other. But Reginald does warn the Sparrow Academy not to underestimate the Umbrella Academy. Even though they're dysfunctional, he did watch them save the world. That sits with Marcus. He goes out to the top of the Sparrow Academy to do his daily routine. Down below, there's a bunch of adoring fans that are waiting to catch his towel that he throws every day. But then he notices one isn't a fan at all. It's Vanya. He decides to go meet with her and see what she has to say. She explains that her brothers are convinced that the Sparrows are going to come after them, and she doesn't want a war. Marcus makes it clear that the Sparrows are the only superhero game in town, and Vanya tells him we're not going to do anything, but he doesn't think he can just take her word for it. And he tells her, I'm sorry, but if you came here to beg me not to make the next move, and she cuts him off and says, I came here to tell you mine. Tomorrow morning, when that busload of fans shows up, I'm going to be on your front lawn. And then I'm going to call you out for a fight, just me and you. Because while your team is good and probably better than mine, I don't think you're better than me, Marcus. I ended the world twice. And you're just meat and spandex. And I'm sure you don't want the whole world watching as I prove it to you. At this point, Marcus is pretty scared, and he asks her, what do you want? And she tells him, I want the briefcase. So Marcus is going to head back to the Sparrow Academy, grab the briefcase, and then meet Vanya the next day to hand it over. But while they thought they were having a private conversation, they weren't. The whole conversation was being watched by a raven from Faye. And she ends up telling Ben, Marcus is making a deal with them. And that doesn't sit well with Ben at all. You get the feeling there's a little battle over who's in charge, Marcus or Ben. And as Vanya was trying to make a deal with Marcus, her brothers had gone down to the restaurant in the hotel to grab dinner. Five lets them know that, in his professional opinion, they are in the clear. There is one small thing. Reginald didn't adopt them as children, but there are children still in this timeline. It means there's another Diego, another Luther, another Klaus running around. They just grew up in a different place with different people. Now here's where the problem comes in. If you're near your doppelganger for too long, you'll go insane. But it should be pretty easy to avoid the doppelganger. They don't know where they are. Klaus points out that he's kind of offended about the fact that their dad not adopting them didn't really seem to change anything. But Five tells him, I didn't say that. The point is, we did it. We saved the world. And whatever timeline we're in now, we can handle it. We won, guys. All of a sudden, Diego's chair is hit with a knife, and when he looks behind him, and it's Lila holding one of the briefcases. Diego chases after her, and he can't believe that she showed up, but she tells him, I'm just here to do a little bit of a drop-off. And that drop-off is Diego's son, Stanley. At first, Diego thinks it's a joke, but Lila tells him it's not a joke. She's had Stanley for 12 years, and now it's time for Diego to do his part. She then takes off and leaves Diego with this child. But unbeknownst to everybody in the hotel is hit by a sort of shockwave. It permeates throughout the hotel, and then it reverts back to where it came from. And when it reverts back, it kills the bellhop's dog. And the shockwave came from the basement of the Sparrow Academy. When Marcus went to go find the briefcase, what he found was Grace writing a bunch of hieroglyphics down as she sort of prayed in front of this orb-like black hole. Grace tells Marcus to listen closely to it because you'll be able to hear a message from God. And Marcus gets close to it and he tells her, I can hear it. That's when the shockwave bursts out of the orb. And when it goes back, it not only killed the dog, it also disintegrates Marcus as well. Now, far away from all of this, a man named Lester Pocket leaves his small cabin in the woods, packs up a suitcase with 6 sandwiches, and heads into town. He's also got with him a bunch of cassette tapes with just ASMR sounds like bees, whales, running water, and he uses those things to kind of keep his sanity. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.